Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Interview. I'm Sean Aylmer. Something very different today. This isn't a business interview at all, really. Last week, Fear and Greed held a special event, our first live recording of the weekend edition. And at the same time, we officially launched Michael Thompson's second novel, All the Perfect Days. Michael is with me this morning, as always, to talk about that novel. Good morning, Michael.
Hello, Sean.
Michael, it was a great night last Thursday night, and the book is selling like hotcakes. Well, I don't know whether that's true, but let's hope so. It should, because it is a great read. It's your second novel, All the Perfect Days. Like your first novel, the main character kind of has a supernatural thing happen to him in this instance. What's going on in your mind, Michael? How do you come up with these slightly crazy, shall we say, offbeat ideas?
Slightly crazy, but they're actually the kind of thing I reckon, Sean, that people think about. I mean, for instance, the premise of this book, right? It is about a small town family doctor by the name of Charlie Knight, Dr. Charlie Knight, and Charlie has something extraordinary happen to him, as you mentioned. He basically develops this ability to know exactly how many days his patients have left alive, which is an extraordinary thing for a doctor to know, but particularly in a small town, a doctor is treating everyone that they know, their family and friends and all, and suddenly they are knowing something about them that they probably don't want to know. And it kind of gets to that question then of, would you want to know how long you have left? And if you knew it about someone else, someone in your family, someone that you knew, someone that you loved, would you tell them? Would it change the way you live? Would it change the way they live? And how would you deal with that knowledge? And it's the kind of thing I reckon that we probably all actually think about at various times. Usually when you hear bad news or you hear something happening to someone else, you go, okay, how would I deal with that if that was happening to me? And for me, I just kind of took that idea and turned it into a novel because I thought it is something extraordinary and something that is worth exploring. And I've made that sound very depressing, but it is in fact it's not.
No, it's an uplifting book. Though on Thursday night you told the story of where the actual idea, the germ of the idea came from, and I think that's really fascinating and quite honourable, really.
Thank you. It came from a conversation that I had many years ago with a colleague at the time, and he called me on the day that he had been diagnosed with an illness. And I remember the conversation. He said, look, I'm going to be okay. I'm in really good hands. The doctors are great. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to keep working. It's going to be all right. And it wasn't all right. And a few years later, he passed away. And then kind of many years after that, I thought back to that conversation. It just kind of came out of the blue, just replaying that conversation in my head. And I thought, if he had known how long he had left, that he wasn't going to make it, that he did only have those kind of couple of years left, would he have continued? Would he have kept working? And would he have wanted to keep doing exactly what he was doing? And I don't know the answer to that because, I mean, no one really does. But I mean, there's a very good chance that maybe he did in fact love what he was doing and just loved being around people that he got on well with and family and friends, and that nothing would have actually changed if he had known what the outcome was going to be, that really those were the things that gave him meaning and purpose and value. And to me, I thought that was worth exploring in this novel.
I think being a fiction writer is an incredible skill. Congratulations on that. How much of it comes from real life? Like you and I, we've been working together for 5 years. Am I in the novel?
Look, there are elements of you, Sean. All good bits. It's the thing is that inevitably you notice things about people. Like you might notice the way somebody talks, or you might just there might be a little quirk about somebody that you think, oh, that's fun, and you then incorporate that into a character. And so it would be very, very rare that you would take someone entirely from the way that you see them in your life and just translate that perfectly into a novel, into a character. It is much more likely that there are little bits and pieces from all over the place, whether it is kind of those character traits, those little quirks and things, or the way that somebody speaks, or an event that has happened to you or to someone that you know, and you take that and you twist it around a little bit. It's just the inspiration for people, for characters, for events, for the plot comes from all over the place. And really, it just goes, as we say on Fear and Greed, all into the mix master.
That's right.
That's right. And then comes out as a complete book.
I do like the fact that there's just points in the book where your obsessions do come through. None more than one of the characters loving his lawn.
Oh, yes. That one was definitely based on me. I mean, there's no hiding that. I mean, I have quite an affinity for a nice lawn, which we have talked about in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that does come through. And like you will see, there is so much passion in those couple of paragraphs where I describe how glorious that lawn looks. And you know that as I was writing that, I was in just a state of euphoria.
Readers, I want you to know it's not just a couple of paragraphs. It's a bit more than that. Michael, we need to take a break. Stay with me. We'll be right back. I'm speaking this morning to the one and only Michael Thompson, my co-host on Fear and Greed, who has just launched his second novel, All the Perfect Days. I want to go to the process of writing a book. You are a very hard worker, and that is clear. But how do you do it? Just to explain the process of writing a book.
It is something that varies from writer to writer, and it depends entirely on how you like to work. In writing, people kind of fall into two camps, really. You have the plotters and the pantsers. And so the plotters are the plotters are those who, as the name would suggest, they plot everything out in advance, and they take kind of copious notes on everything, characters, where the book's going to go, and every single little thing that happens between the beginning and the end. And then at the other end, you have the pantsers, and that is flying by the seat of your pants. And it is, you start and you just go for it and see where you end up. And I am very much more towards that end of it, in that I find that if you start planning too far ahead, it can just, it takes something away from it. Part of the excitement and fun of writing comes from seeing where the book goes and what happens as you go. And I always thought it was very strange when people talk about, oh, the characters did this, as though they had a life of their own. But you actually do find this as you're writing, that really you are working the story out as you go based on the way that those characters would react to different things happening. And you don't necessarily know, well, at least I don't, how that's going to play out until you get into that situation and you're writing that scene and you're writing that conversation, and all of a sudden it just occurs to you, this is where this is going to end up and this is where this is going to go. And so that is how you kind of start at one point and you just write, and I just kind of keep on going until I get there. And that's a long process.
So take this as an absolute compliment. When I was reading, I had no idea how it was going to end. So it just kept me guessing. But it seems that you didn't know how it was going to end either when you first started writing. At what point do you think, oh, I know how we're going to conclude this?
Yes, that is true. I did not know where the book was going to end until about probably 2/3 of the way through. And it was the same for my first one, How to Be Remembered. When I sat down and wrote that one, started writing it, wasn't sure where it was going to end up until I was probably at least halfway, probably 2/3 of the way through. And the thing is, the first draft of a book can be very, very messy. And that's what a first draft is for. You just get it down on the page, because there is a saying that you can't edit a blank page. As soon as you've got something down, you can work with that. And so that's why the first draft is exploring the book and just seeing where it goes. And then in my case, for All the Perfect Days, it was 7 rewrites, 7 drafts after that, where you just go over it again and again and again, and really you're starting from scratch each time and just rewriting the whole thing. And so by the end, it comes out very polished from what was a very messy, very kind of creative first draft to being a really quite refined story, and where you're really happy with the characters and you're really happy with the way that it plays out. And hopefully in this particular case, it's a book that will make people think and as you say, uplifting. It is hopeful, life affirming, and I would love to see people kind of take this and talk about it. And it is, Sean, if I may give a blatant plug, a great book for book clubs.
Oh,
it is.
It is. Yeah, it is. I mean, just the concept of the main character, Charlie Knight, is something that you can talk about non-stop. And then you read the book and you come up against all the instances where this interacts with his life and other people's lives. And it is a great talking point. I'm interested. Any interest from Hollywood?
Yes, there is, and I'm sorry, I jumped all over that one, didn't I? No, it's it's one of those things where I have to be very vague about it because it is still very early days. But I mean, the first book, that book was optioned for film over there. The second book there has been interest and there has been discussions from parties over there, and which is just. It is honestly thrilling to have those conversations, to have somebody read your book and see it playing out on a screen.
Yeah.
And to come to you and say, I think this would work as a film or as a TV series. This is what we would do. This is what I like about it. This is what I think would work. This is what will resonate with a TV or a movie audience. And that is really, really exciting and gratifying then as a writer to have someone else read so much into your work. It's really exciting.
2 books done. Hollywood interest. Surely there's a third in the offing.
There is a third, and I'm when I was talking about all those drafts that I wrote for All the Perfect Days, I am now up to the 3rd draft of the next book.
Oh wow!
And so it is pretty well advanced actually. So the 3rd draft will be a work in progress over the next probably 6 months or so. These are very steady things. It's not something, because when you're dealing with, say, 90,000, 100,000, 110,000 words, it's not something that you can just kind of knock over in a week or two. It is a 6-month project of just chipping away at it and working your way through, and eventually you'll end up with something polished. But over the next 3 months, my big goal is really to talk to as many people as I can about this book, about All the Perfect Days. And I've launched the 100 book clubs in 100 days challenge, where I'm trying to, as the name suggests, very creative name this, talk to 100 book clubs in, you guessed
100 days.
100 days. And so look at this. How many blatant plugs can I squeeze into one interview?
If you're a book club, a member of a book club, think about joining a book club, think about creating one yourself. We have your very first author that you can talk to, Michael Thompson.
That's right.
The author of All the Perfect Days. That should be your first book.
Yep.
Get in touch with us, fearandgreed.com.au, through social media. Anyway.
Well, I'll put a link in the show notes where you can just
link in the
directly book in, and I will join you for a chat. Warning, it is very hard to stop me talking once I start.
That's right. This interview was supposed to be over half an hour ago and we're still going. Michael, congratulations on your second book. It is a terrific read. I have read it. It's fantastic, called All the Perfect Days. You can get it obviously online or in any decent bookshop. Thank you, Michael. In a funny way, this is weird saying this to you. Thanks for talking to us this morning on Fear and Greed.
Oh, thanks for having me, Sean. It's been a pleasure.
This is the Fear and Greed Business Interview. Join us every morning for the full episode of Fear and Greed, business news you can use. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your day.